We're now going to discuss motion in space, in particular paying attention to velocity and acceleration of a position vector. Let's assume we're given some position vector r at t that traces out the path of some object. When we plug in a value of the parameter, and for the sake of convenience, we can assume in this case that the parameter is equal to time. So when we plug in a particular value of time, what we get out is a unique vector that points to the position of the particle along the curve c at that given time. So we could say this would be the output vector at time is equal to 1, and we would have a different output vector at, let's say, time is equal to 2. And we could keep going like this until the entire path or the entire curve c is traced out. Now, instead of calling these time 1 and time 2's, let's call it just time, and let's say that that value of the parameter was then increased by the value of h. So let's now consider the vector that starts at the initial point and terminates here, and we'll call this vector a change in position. And notice that this change in position could be interpreted as the position of the particle at time t plus h minus the position of the particle at time t. And notice that this is the difference between these two original vectors. If we were to subtract them, what we get is this delta r vector. So we'll say here then, this delta r vector can be interpreted as the displacement vector, or the change in position from time t to time t plus h. And if we were to look at the displacement vector and then divide that by a change in time, we would get r evaluated at t plus h minus r evaluated at t, and then the change of time is essentially going to be that value of h, which gives us the change in position per unit time. So let's use that then to define our velocity vector. So as we let this change in time get smaller and smaller, what happens to this displacement vector is that it goes from being in the direction of a secant line to approaching the direction of the tangent vector. And a vector in the direction of the tangent line is going to be my first derivative of the position vector. So as we let our h value go to 0, what we're going to get is the limit as delta t goes to 0, essentially, of the displacement vector divided by that delta t, which is going to end up being essentially the derivative, the first derivative of our position vector, which can be interpreted as just r prime t. And therefore the velocity vector, which describes the change in position relative to the change in time, is defined to be the first derivative of the position vector, which can also be interpreted as the change in the displacement vector with respect to the change in time. If we were to look at the magnitude of that velocity vector, the magnitude of that velocity vector, which gives me the magnitude of the derivative vector, is going to be giving us the speed of the particle at that given time. So the first derivative is going to tell us essentially the direction of that velocity vector, and that first derivative's length, or its magnitude, can be interpreted as the speed of the particle at that given moment. So all of this is very similar to what we saw in Calculus 1. What we're looking at here are vector functions that are tracing out some path where we put in some value of time, and the output is a vector that points to the position of that particle along curve C. But in Calculus 1, what we were looking at were scalar functions. Let's say the position of a particle be given by a scalar function, which tells me that if we were to plug in some value of the parameter, what we get out is its position along a curve here, but as a point in space, in two-dimensional space, where we say t is the parameter that we plug in and the output is the position along this curve. The output is a scalar quantity, not a vector, right? In the vector calculus, we have an output that is a vector. In Calc 1 or in single variable calculus, we have a scalar quantity, which basically gives us just the y-coordinate of an ordered pair that is on some path. In Calc 3, in vector calculus, we have that the derivative vector, the first derivative of position, is going to give us a vector function that represents the velocity of the vector. That velocity is going to be given by a vector that points in the direction that the particle is moving at that particular time, and the magnitude of that velocity vector is actually going to be giving me the speed of the particle at that moment. So essentially, when we're looking at vector calculus, we get two pieces of information from that first derivative. We get, first of all, the direction of motion, but as well, we also get the magnitude. Remember, a vector has direction and magnitude. If we were to take the first derivative in single variable calculus, what we get is essentially the slope of the tangent line at that point. So let's also recall that the velocity was the first derivative of that position function, and the speed was the absolute value of the velocity. If the velocity was positive, the particle was moving up. If the velocity was negative, the particle was moving down. And these bars were absolute value bars because of the fact that we had a scalar output or a scalar quantity. And in order to delineate between the two conversations, I'm going to use double mag bars over here when I am looking at a vector. We can also see that the acceleration vector is going to describe the rate of change in the velocity vector per unit time, which is going to then be essentially the first derivative of the velocity vector per unit time, or the second derivative of the position vector per unit time. So let's use prime notation to describe these quantities, which is to say the acceleration is the first derivative of velocity and the second derivative of position. And again, that is similar to what we saw in single variable calculus. If we were to take that position vector and find the second derivative, that gave us the acceleration, or how the particle was being pushed, which was usually referring to the push experienced by the acceleration due to gravity.